Welcome back to the Loss Prevention News Network. I'm Joe LaRocca. According to the National Retail Security Survey released in June 2018, retailers lost an estimated $46 billion nationwide. But the truth is, the National Retail Security Survey is only one part of a big problem. It's merchandise theft. In addition to merchandise crimes, we have fraud losses, cargo theft, counterfeit goods, and of course, when situations turn either verbally or physically abusive on our store employees, we're deeply concerned, along with the damage and destruction and theft of company assets. And I think our next guest is uniquely qualified to talk about some of the challenges in retail in a slightly different way of managing some of those losses. Amber?
Yes, so we are here with Gatekeeper Systems CEO Robert Harling. Welcome to the Quick Take stage.
Thank you very much.
Welcome
Pleasure
back.
to be here.
Yes,
back.
you are no stranger to the Quick Take stage for sure. But as Joe was saying, it's so interesting and I think important for all of the LP professionals watching to understand. Use technology. Technology is here to help you keep your customers and your employees safe. And Gatekeeper Systems is certainly one of those, right? So talking about the drama in LP, which, you know, is sometimes like a little negative, right? Drama queens and stuff like that. But knowing that loss prevention professionals do work in a drama-filled environment, and it's often, sometimes a little scary, knowing that you can't take all the drama out because you're still dealing with external theft, internal theft, operations, but we're trying to decrease the drama, which is the Gatekeeper Systems hashtag drama-free LP, as close to drama-free LP as you could get. So tell us a little bit about the Gatekeeper technology and how it relates to keeping the merchandise in the store safely.
Yes. Yeah, it is a challenging environment. The loss prevention associates have a really difficult time. You know, theft is on the rise, as we talked about before, violence is on the rise. So it's really important that we minimize those confrontations. And with the Gatekeeper PerCheck solution, we essentially stop the product from leaving the store. So it's more about retaining the product as opposed to retaining the shoplifter. So it provides an environment where the cart stops at the front of the store, in most cases inside the store. Tends to be a safer environment, lots of lights, lots of people. Employees then can gauge their level of engagement at that point, but more importantly, that product is retained in a safe manner.
Because if you haven't lost the product, what is the point of chasing down the shoplifter? Because have you seen in your experience that once offenders realize that a store has the Gatekeeper system, that they're not coming back and back and back to do the same level of push out? I mean, is that what you guys see in your experience?
Correct. When we install systems, and we have the ability to install it in a surveillance mode, so no locking carts, no alarms, no buzzers, we can identify those repeat offenders, and you can see them coming in, day out. And once we go live, we're locking carts, those repeat offenders tend to disappear rather quickly. So you can see the impact the system has. And as you touched on, once a shoplifter steals and sees that they can get away with it, they tend, unfortunately, to do it numerous times in that regard.
So as Joe was saying, you know, you're thinking about the safety aspect, right? I mean, you have the merchandise. Why retain and apprehend the shoplifter? And so passing it over to Joe to talk about a little bit of his experience and you thinking about the safety aspect. And do people really realize what they're losing in push-out theft?
Well, I think there's an unknown variable there, and thanks to analytics and transparency with the data, that brings a lot to light for executives and store people trying to make the smart decisions on how to handle it. But I thought it was refreshing to hear someone talk about that prevention versus apprehension, because that's really a direction a number of retailers have taken over the last few years. And it sounds like you're uniquely there in talking about how do we stop the theft from occurring in the first place. In particular, in my opening, I mentioned 48% of retailers report that ORC cases, these thefts, are becoming more violent, either verbally or physically violent with our store people. Tell me a little bit about the analytics. What are some of the data points you're capturing and feeding to stores to help them become more aware?
Well, the core solution has video as a key element. And with that video, we have a platform where retailers can not only quantify the number of events, but they have a platform where they can add additional information about that incident. They can track repeat offenders if they are there. They can differentiate between opportunistic theft and ORC and enter information that ties in with their incident management system. And then they can also tie that system to where they can deliver automatic emails about those incidents to others within the organization. So they have the ability to, on a continual basis, really reiterate the value proposition and the need for additional systems and kind of the scope of the problem as well. And it is a challenging environment for loss prevention professionals, and particularly when you talk about ORC, and some of the legal issues and challenges around prosecuting those cases, having a system that really just drives the problem away, brings it to an end, is really imperative for LP.
Yeah, and thinking about that technology that goes with it, that must be useful when a loss prevention executive is trying to quantify the problem for eventual funding for additional stores, or even to justify the return on investment for the Gatekeeper solution. Is that what you see, that people are helping use that data to quantify the overall problem?
We do, because most LP professionals will see, and they're familiar with these large push-out events. They're typically a cartload of meat or alcohol or something along those lines. They always refer to those events. But when we go in with our solutions with the integrated video, we identify that a vast majority of the events are substantially less than $200. And those are the events that often go unnoticed by store employees and always go underreported.
Yeah, so that's one hole that they could be losing that they have no idea, and Gatekeeper Systems helps identify that. So that's phenomenal. Robert, thank you so much for joining us on the Quick Take hot seat, now hot table, now we're referring to it. Now we're going to send it back over to Gus Downing. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.